In a way, there are four coping mechanisms, right? You have the fight, you have flight, you have focus, and you have freeze. I really like the word. It really feels like permanent crisis. It says all in one word.
For me, I'm just waiting for the next crisis to happen again. We should adjust to this type of living that it could happen again, and then we should be prepared for anything like that in the future. It's funny because it used to be called doomsday prepping. Maybe we should have crisis prepping.
Maybe the pandemic, COVID.
The war in Ukraine.
The cost of living.
Environmental crisis, the floods.
Another one that's maybe also worth mentioning is the whole rise of the cyber threats. It's maybe not a crisis per se, but you see it more and more happening in Russia and Middle East, but also here in Western Europe. But you also see the political unrest growing.
The mental health crisis.
Have you already said cost of living? Yeah. You said that.
My parents are from Croatia, and I remember the day when COVID was really going crazy and there was an earthquake in Zagreb, and I was calling my aunt. And it was really, I don't know, there were so many things happening at once that I was basically waiting for the next problem to come. And there it was the first time that I really felt like, okay, there's too many things going wrong.
In a way, there are four coping mechanisms, right? You have the fight, you have flight, you have focus, and you have freeze, a total freeze.
For me, it's very much about focus, connecting with the things that matter most in my life. So doing meaningful work, connecting with family and friends, and taking care of myself, both physically and mentally.
Around me, my friends, completely different. They're all in flight mode, like real flight mode, all in the plane, traveling the world, to really left their job, left their flat, put their things in the parents' house and garage and just flying away.
And what's also interesting is that our research has shown that I think it was more than 30% of millennials really had a fight type of response, even though they were not protesting or they were not doing this, but they at least had the response or the inner drive to this.
I also thought about that we need more time to process things now, because we had so much time to process them that we felt how nice it is if we really have the time, and all of a sudden there is no time, right? Everybody wants to go back to the old pace, but then we feel like there's so many things happening, I cannot, like my brain started going slower, and all of a sudden it has to take back the same pace.
I think brands, first and foremost, they need to be careful or more looking towards what are people doing these days? What are people expecting to do or to get from its brand?
I think that brands need to focus or fight. People have been realizing that all of these crises, they've been trying to, handle them in their own individual ways, but they're realizing that their efforts are not enough. And they're actually realizing that big systemic change is needed. So they're looking at the brands, the companies, the institutions, the governments to actually, act upon this.
I think people are also sensitive of which brands are talking about what, and if it's in the right spot or not.
Yeah, it's about being credible. So life centricity, which is a concept that we talk about quite a lot. But then on the other hand, it's also very much about understanding, okay, like who are you? Why do you exist? But also what are your assets, right? So what are the things that your strengths, like what are you sitting on? And then understanding, okay, like how can we, find a way to provide relevance and value.
If we want to deliver or to develop things that really fit into what people need, and even more what the planet needs and what communities need, I feel that now more than ever we really need to be critical, which means not every innovation is a good innovation. So hairdressers are not hairdressers anymore, they're influencers, best friends, psychologists since ever, and they really have to do multiple jobs all of a sudden. They have to be present so that they get clients. They have to be the best in blonde hair or the best in curly hair. So things are getting so complex, and to help them or to do something for them, for example, you really need to see the whole picture.
We've always seen that innovation happens on the backbone of constraints and crises, right? And that's why this whole area of this perma crisis is actually a really interesting one, because lots of things are moving. As long as the innovation becomes relevant, read towards people, then it's going to be way more impactful.
Looking at how we've been talking about the perma-crisis, right? I mean, these things are not gone yet. Mental health, sustainability, all of these topics, they're still an issue. I mean, COVID isn't completely gone either, right? So I think we just need to be aware of it. And I think, we just need to understand that there's maybe something around the corner that we should take into account in the future.